Hey folks, how you doing out there? Welcome to another Drink and a Wink. Permascores number 5. Today I'm going to talk to you about another blended Scotch whiskey. Interestingly enough, so far out of the 5, I've talked about blended Scotches and blended malt whiskey. So I'm trying to give you some different options in this area. Given the weekend and Memorial Day on Monday, my next one will be an American whiskey. I think I might go to Utah, well, in theory, and talk about High West next. That might be fun, or maybe not. I have to think about it. No, I got another one. Something with old in the title, and it's not going to be Forester. You might know if you have an old granddad around. So that's what I'm going to talk about next. Changed my mind. But today we're still going to keep it in the Scotch arena. Now, the first Scotch or blended Scotch that I brought you in this number 2 was Dewar's 12. Dewar's 12 is from a very large company, okay, distributed, and they're one of the second biggest Scotch whiskey. Well, maybe there's some other brands might claim that title, but in terms of the big 5 of blended Scotch whiskey, that's definitely one of them. Might be 2 or 3. Okay, so we had that, enjoyed that. That's going to be a Permaschelf for us. Okay, it's their second in their tier, and we enjoy that. That's why it's a Permaschelf. It's a very useful whiskey. Okay, useful, not youthful. The next one we talked about, which was the last video, number 4, was a malted blend, meaning that it's all single malts, okay, a blend of single malts, called Orchard House. That one was very much designed to attract the folks that like fruitier Scotch whiskey, okay, blending a bunch of different single malts. If there was any smoke in there, that was really kind of to enhance those fruits, grilled fruit kind of flavors. And that one, the Orchard House Compass Box Orchard House, which I talked about last time, would be a perfect example of, let's say I'm going to a party that is full of all manner of spirits and beer, whiskey drinkers. This one is going to this is going to be one of our choices. Okay, we've done that quite a bit, actually. Brought this one out. Okay, and it's why it remains Permaschelf when I don't leave it. Okay, sometimes I leave it. Sometimes we give it. Great one. And like I said, I really like that one as a primarily single malt Scotch whiskey drinker, or I should say Scotch whiskey in terms of all the different categories. That's still going to be my favorite. It's hard to beat that one for me. I like them all, but that's my favorite. And that blend is a really nice kind of, hey, come on in. The water's fine. The fruits, this is nice. Springtime whiskey, really great. But what I'm going to bring you tonight is completely different, okay? This one, if I were to say what blended Scotch, okay, comes closest to the purely single malt experience, okay, one single malt, it's going to be MacLean's Nose from the Ardnamurchan Distillery. Now, when I say that, okay, don't run out and buy it just yet, okay, although you just should. This one is so different from the other ones that I've talked about because it has a very detailed taste profile that really is going to appeal to single malt Scotch whiskey drinkers. Okay, it's not where I would start someone if they were going to drink any manner of Scotch, blended Scotch or single malt Scotch. But this one came online from this wonderful distillery, Ardnamurchan. Got a bunch of bottles here. And it kind of took the world by storm in a way, because there are some other distilleries putting out some really cool blended scotches. Campbelltown Lock, okay, which comes from the Springbank Distillery. I won't pull it up. Is a very, very good one. Very kind of very much like Springbank, has a little bit of peatiness, smokiness, autumnal flavors. Really good. $50 some, okay, which is fine. I like buying that one. The Orchard House one that I brought you was $50. Actually, Campbellton Lock is actually more expensive now, but going on and on and on. Okay, those are the companies that we're talking about. A lot of these companies are very old companies. A lot of the companies I've brought you already, have been around for 100 or more years. They have 18 something in their years. This one is completely different. The Ardnamurchan Distillery, okay, you can see where it's most clearly written here. There you go. On this bottle here, Ardnamurchan is a very young distillery, 12 years. It opened in 2014. Okay, it everything that they do is done right. Okay, quality control is excellent. Their single malt distillate is wonderful, high quality. They always bottle a little higher proof. Everything's natural, and they are really capturing the flavor of Scotch whiskey, what I would understand it to be as the older style of Scotch whiskey. Now, I did not get into this Scotch whiskey business till late in my life. Okay, I had some, I enjoyed some, but I never really, I don't know, I should go back and find when I started my journey on this. But I don't know what an old Dewar's tastes like. Okay, I don't know what an old I do know what an old Johnny Walker tastes like because I had one, but that was still just an 80s one. I owned one for a while. Got it from my parents. The elements of Scotch whiskey, the old days, really seem to pop through in Ardnamurchan, which is interesting because it's only a 12-year-old distillery. Let me get into MacLean's nose. This, excuse me, came out a couple of years ago. I was hearing about it and all over from mostly Scottish reviewers. Okay, they were just digging this, and then I heard that when this came out, it's a blended Scotch in that it is not all single malts. This is not a vatted malt or a malt blend. There is about 30% of another grain in this whiskey. Okay, I'll come back to that number. This is bottled at 46%. It's all natural presentation. It's a very classic, old school kind of presentation. The name MacLean's Nose comes from this outcrop of rock, okay, in Ardnamurchan Distillery. It looks like that. And then it also, I'm just going to show you this picture. I don't know if it'll come across on the iPad. But you see that guy there, and his name is Charles MacLean. I've done this before, but if you look at kind of the angle of that drawing, and then you look at the angle of his nose, that's where they came up with the title of this. He did a lot of, Charles MacLean is like, he's the goat of all things Scotch whiskey, and then he went signed on with them and was doing a little bit of consulting and blending and that kind of stuff for them. So when I first heard of this one, I'm sorry I'm moving a little slow today. I was watching some other videos and they go on too long, but I talk too fast. So I'm going to go shorter on this one and talk a little slower. When this one came out, I heard that it was going for like 28 pounds in Scotland, and I was like, well, if it ever gets over here, it's going to be like many other products. It's going to be like 45, 50. It's going to be in the range of those other ones. A little while after I heard many reviewers talk about it. Okay, that's not safe. Let me do that the right way. I'm very particular about how these labels come off. I hate them sticking around and getting the top gummed up. All right, I just opened this one. Actually, I should pop it open. Get a little bit of breath. Okay, so good. So then when it came over here, I was very excited to find out that it was here. It was like $32. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be, $45, $50 after, hearing the price that it was being sold in Scotland. So what this company has done is put out a highly competitive 46% blended Scotch, all natural product, but they are keeping that price down low, and the quality on this is insane. Okay, but again, as I said, it's not for everyone. I know our buddy Mike, who I think just went out and bought Permashelf number 4 and said he enjoyed it, wasn't crazy about this one. I've had some other friends taste it, and if they are experienced Scotch whiskey drinkers, I shouldn't even say that. If they like a certain type, I know they'll like this. This has been, I think this is maybe our 3rd bottle on this one. Okay. I think I also might have given it to someone. And actually, the reason why I'm opening it today is just like the Orchard House, my Permashelf. Now, the Orchard House, I didn't realize that we were out of it, so I had to buy another one. This one, I've always had one in backup. That's how much I like this, and how much when I have a drink of it, I'm going to use it or put it in a cocktail or whatever. But I realized that the old bottle was not on the shelf, so it was kind of like not a Permashelf. I went into the cellar and grabbed this one. Okay. I'm going to pour just a hair more. Other interesting things about this, you can, I'll give you some information. This one is a high proportion of malt. So when you buy a Dewar's or a blended Scotch, Chivas Regal, the proportions of single malt blends in there to the grain maybe can be thought of as maybe 30% single malts, 70% other grains. Okay, maybe as you go up in the price tag or the aging, maybe they're changing that proportion. Okay, this one, however, is the opposite. This is still 70% single malt. This has been a high percentage has been matured in ex-sherry casks, bringing out dried fruit. You can read this, and the reason you can read this is I'm going to put the website down in the notes. They also give you this code so you can scan it, and that is for just about every one of their products. This is a West Island area or West Coast area in Scotland. Check the website out. They are really hearty, fabulous, passionate people that make this whiskey. I'm also very excited about this because essentially 2025, maybe one of it is 2026, kind of became my year for Ardnamurchan Distillery. On the nose, you are getting those sherry notes that I just mentioned, some fruitiness, but there is a peatiness here that really kind of punches that dry, or that kind of smoked or cooked fruits, grilled fruits in here. But this is not anything like the Orchard House, because you are also getting plenty of barley notes, hay, earth, grassiness a little bit, and this wonderful peat vibe that I just love it. On the taste, a little bit of lemon. There's just so much here. Lemon peel, a note of citrus, pretty big note of citrus, but there's also a darkness, a little bit of leather, a little bit of warming note, kind of like a red wine, just a hint from the sherry cask. Present throughout the entire taste, you're getting this wonderful combo of barley flavors, a little bit of a cereal note. I'm trying to think if there's anything here. Their notes are burnt citrus peel, absolutely, sea salt, white chocolate, Okay, that's in there. I can find it. And a bonfire at the beach. It's not as smoky as they are stating. I've never been to a bonfire on a beach when the beach is in Scotland. Hands down, this is at the now it's about $34, 35. Hands down, you can't do better in blended Scotch than this one. If you are an old school flavor Scotch fan. Again, I'm not an old school Scotch fan, but I like those older school flavors. I like to get a little bit of the kind of oak from refill bourbon casks. They say much of this has been done in ex-sherry casks. I like that flavor. If that's going to throw you off, maybe this isn't for you. But if you are listening to me and you want to get into something, Darren, I cannot do the single malt. Believe me, I can't do the single malt Scotch thing either that much. I don't remember the last one I purchased. The prices are really going going up and up and up. And also, I'm kind of holding off on that to something a little bigger. These middle area single malt scotches, I'm kind of giving up on that only because, well, I've had a lot of them, and yeah, it has to be special purchase now. I don't need to like cover all the bases and touch all the bases. Can't say enough. Really check out the website in here, or check out the website, because this distillery is probably, some people will argue, has become the most, probably one of the, let's say, top two most important new distilleries. Let's say any distillery that's been producing as of 2010. Okay, this one is going to be one of two or three that are doing wonderful stuff. So I bought MacLean's nose, and then I kept on hearing about Ardnamurchan, this, that, the other thing. So then, a little while later, in 2025, I bought their AD. This is a single malt Scotch, obviously. This was bottled at 46.8%. Okay, and no age statement. Ardnamurchan Highland single malt. Don't let the no age statement. I used to say in the past, the no age statement thing used to throw me. But now I'm learning other, more prominent reviewers. I mean, there's a lot of more prominent reviewers than me, but are also kind of noting that. If it's an old distillery and they're getting a no age statement, it could be good or bad. A distillery that's only been around 2014 can't really do that. Now they have a couple that are out that have age statements. But this AD, this straight up AD, I'm so happy I bought it. This might become a Permascorza at some point. Really tasty. But I love that one. And then my birthday came around in 2025. You're going to see. I became a fan here. I got the sherry cask release. Now look at that. This is no age statement. Okay. I don't know what this could be, 6-7 years. But from the aging and the sherry cask influence, they got that color completely naturally. Look at that. Okay. No artificial color. And then when it went on sale, I bought the cask strength release, which is, I think I bought that this year. I can't remember now. That is one of my favorites of all time. Michelle bought me the sherry cask, so I want to keep it quiet. Although she might watch it. She doesn't watch this anymore. Ardamuchan Distillery. I don't know what else to tell you. Other cool things. Like I said, every bit of information that you'd want, you can just get it off the QR code. Actually, some of this, they're very, 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 resource conscious, and I don't want to say. Why am I blanking on the environmentally aware? I don't want to say green. I hate that term. This label. Look at that. What color is that? Well, kind of like barley, okay, uncolored barley. So there actually is some element of this in this paper that it's actually a barley byproduct that's in the label on that one. I don't know if they're all like that. Like this one, this looks like paper. I think the case on this one also has. It is a very fascinating company. Here's the good news. You're going to buy the Scotch whiskey, and it's going to be $34. And if you are a kind of older school oaky and sherry cask friendly, and you're not expecting it to taste like bourbon, okay, you're going to love this. That it really isn't into it, but you're like, I've watched a lot of videos from Scorza. I'm going to buy something, and you don't want to spend a lot of money. This is as good as you're going to do for 32 something. Okay, 32 to 34 bucks. It's also very, very available. I always see it on the shelves. It's a perma shelf in a lot of stores too. Like I said, the only reason why I kind of couching this in this idea is we've seen a lot of companies in the Scotch whiskey world try to make Scotch whiskey for bourbon lovers. Try to color it so it looks a little bit more like bourbon. And we here in the United States sometimes think that the darker color of brown makes things richer. Tasting that corn, that the flavor, we just is in everything. From well, we all know how corn is used in a lot of our drinks, everything, corn syrup. I'm not a scientist, but you know what I mean. We're used to that flavor. And we're used to that even in our bourbons, okay? And it does get a little bit maddening when, like, can we drink something else other than that flavor? Because I've got a ton of bourbons back here. I can tell the difference, but it's not the same as when we're talking about Scotch whiskey. They just do that aspect better. They give you different variations of their spirit, okay? But yeah, what I meant by that comment, like, can we do anything else? Like, even a lot of the companies that put out a rye are still making it barely a rye, meaning it's 51%, but there's still a 40% corn blast in there. Maybe that would be like, let me see some different stuff. And Scotch whiskey people, because again, Scotch whiskey companies, distilleries, and bigger conglomerates, they're trying to market for us. This isn't made for us. Okay? This is made for them. You can buy it. That didn't come out right. This isn't made to please us where we're at. Okay? Some things are going to try to, I'm going to latch in and find out. Okay? They're not coming over here and giving, like, let's find the taste. Let's do some taste tests with. No, they're putting this out. This is Scotch whiskey in the traditional sense. If you enjoy it, great. If you don't, go grab yourself a bottle of Jim Beam. I don't know. I don't know why I'm knocking it. I love so many bourbons and ryes and all that. And this is different. But there is a certain little kind of like, I have to say that even my Dewar's 12, now that they changed it to using ex-bourbon, a first fill ex-bourbon, they're trying to give it a little bit more of a bourbon note. The Johnny Walker Black Cask, the newest one, the newest of their many different black, because that's the only color they know, and that's great, Shoot, this nail polish is black. I don't know why this is in here. That's made for bourbon lovers, and people are gonna just like, that's great, that's cool. But if you really want to get the single malts, or you want to get the Scotch whiskey experience at a price tag that is lower than many mid-tier bourbons, check out MacLean's Nose. Okay, if you really don't like it, give it to me. I'll take it. I'll give you something else. All right. If you open this up and you're like, no, tell me what you want. I have a couple of bottles here, a couple of new American bottles, bourbon or whatever, or one that I've had a couple of drinks of. We can trade, seriously. All right, folks. This has been a lot of fun. Sorry, I was a little low key. I'm gonna go. It's nice to be home. For being home at like 9. Getting home at 9 is like early for me. I know everyone is like, what the heck? It's just that musician thing. But yeah, I had a gig last night. Got a gig tomorrow. Tonight just ended up, I went and taught very early in the morning. I saw my dad for a while, and then I did some practice actually, and then came back over here, and it's cool. The rest of the night, Michelle's got an early morning, so I'm not going to try to bug her too much. I'm going to switch from this. I finished this off. I'm going to polish off. This is going to be another bottle kill tonight with my meal. I'm going to polish off not as good as single malts, or not as good as blended Scotch. I am going to knock off the illegal, as they said in Scotland, illegal smooth. Okay, this was the weirdest of the smooth series that they put out. That was finished with a mezcal cask. I would say that out of the, I think there was 5 or 6 in this Dewar's smooth series, I rather like this. I think this is my 3rd bottle. No, 4th bottle. And this is going to be my last bottle, because I think I was about the only person that was keeping this one on the shelf. Matter of fact, I remember I was in my 2nd bottle, kind of at the end, and I was in our Jewel here, the store, our grocery, and they actually had them on discount, so I bought 2 more. This is the very end of it, I think, unless there's another one floating around. I don't know. Lost track of it. So I'm going to polish that one off, and then finally tonight, in my little trio of whiskey flights, I might come back to this, but now that I pulled these out, I'm going to have another cast strength Ardnamurchan. Beautiful stuff. I'm going to put the links down. Just check it out. It's a real fascinating distillery that has like really hip but somewhat sparse kind of a presentation. I wish I knew the name for that in the design world. I'm not trying to fool everybody. Everybody looks cool, but not. They look real. It's a very real company. Okay, check it out. Okay, they're not going to be hiring any celebrities to sell their whiskey. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but Harrison Ford, Glenmorangie, no age statement at $100. It's going to have to be good. I'm going to have to check that out. Get off my shelf.